In between week 28 and tonight's week 29 of 260 minutes, I got a bit of a boost, feeling really good. Can't say much about it other than to say thanks to my friend John down in Mexico for all the support. Tonight's set I'm looking forward to. There's two premises tonight that I've been rolling around for quite some time. I think it's going to be way too long for the five, but if they're not laughing, one or the other might be way too short, so I'm just going to do them both and go quickly, but certainly try not to rush. The two premises have been around for a little bit now, haven't had time to punch them up. Hopefully I was able to do that this afternoon, and hopefully this audience agrees with me.
Very kind of you. After the show tonight, if you want to give me a compliment, and you probably will, please don't do it. My only request is that you don't do it at the urinal while I'm going to the bathroom. I get that a lot. Some guy next to you. It's very awkward to get a compliment being told you're great while you're holding your own penis. And that's an exaggeration, by the way. I didn't mime that properly. If that was real life, the guy wouldn't be talking to me at all, really. Like, his jaw would be on the floor. Because guys don't look at that, but if you're holding onto a mayonnaise jar, I mean, naturally. That's the worst condiment I could have chose for that, isn't it? Yeah, should have been a pickle jar or something else, you know. Got to stretch out your opposable thumb. I actually worked too hard to get the word opposable into the set tonight because I discovered today for the first time in my life that it's actually not spelled with an A. I thought it was like opposable, like it meant its own thing. It's actually opposable, like opponent or opposition, which is why we have thumb wars. I'm surprised that worked, actually. It is awkward sitting at the urinal, though, and being complimented. Like, the only time that my penis is in the open air, I'm not hearing compliments. You know, far more likely I'm going to be hearing, like, a bad Marge Simpson impression. Just like, That was a horrible Marge Simpson impression. I know, but I'm not basing my career on Simpsons impressions. That would be stupid. The last time, actually, that I had my penis in my hand and was complimented by a man would have been when I was potty training with my dad years ago when I was a child. And I feel bad for him because I was a stubborn bastard while potty training. I was the worst. It took me forever to come on board with it because I couldn't fathom that I was getting a better deal with this new system. Like, before I took these classes, I could just go when the mood struck me and then it was somebody else's problem. But now I gotta take, you know, responsibility for it in some weird way. That's why you have to teach them when they're kids, because if you actually try to sell that to them as adults, they'd be like, no, that's stupid. I'm gonna keep doing this. To win me over, though, my dad actually had to promise me a trophy of his from his collection, because I wouldn't do it. Like, apparently not smelling like an outhouse for half a day wasn't motivation enough for me. So he promised me this trophy. It was a baseball trophy, which is the worst of the trophies for that reward, because he's in like a weird pose. Like, nobody's ever gone like that on purpose. You know, like, better could have been the hockey trophy, you know, like right down, you know, giving it. Or, you know, on the blocks at a swim meet, just boom. It is weird, though, at the urinal when that happens, because it's either that feeling of awkwardness, or you feel like you're at the end of a gay porno. Like, it's pillow talk, really. He's like, oh, you're great, and you're like, oh, thank you, that's great. Although I'm not sore or sticky, so. Really? That's gross? Is that not politically correct? I'm assuming I'd be one or both. I mean, definitely sore. But. Also, I don't know where to look at the other guy when he's talking to me in this situation, because you're not supposed to make eye contact there, but I want to be polite and listen to his compliment. So I don't know what to do. Like, you stare straight forward, that looks rude. You can't look right at him either. Like, oh, thank you for coming to the show. It's creepy. I just do like a weird double take thing. I'm just like, oh, thank you. See what happens. I do like hearing compliments, too. I think we all do, actually. I've actually faked a disability. I've faked being a little deaf in order to hear a compliment twice. I've actually done that. People, I've heard them perfectly clearly. I've said, oh, that was nice. I'd like to hear it again. And then said, sorry, what? Something about greatest or best ever? I couldn't quite. No? Okay. But in that particular situation, though, that's a horrible thing to do, too. Like, he compliments me. I can't lean over and go, come again? Because that's like the second act of a gay porno, and that's not a good place to start. I realized recently, actually the other day, that my parents were far worse children growing up than I ever could be. I realized that because I grew up in a city with witnesses. They grew up on a farm with wheat. wheat tells no tales. My uncles once, because like here's the thing, on a farm, you're given practical skills, but then not very much stuff to do. So that comes out in bad ways. Like my uncles once had a problem. They wanted to drive, great, and they wanted to drink. Okay, perfect. So the problem was that the sheriff, I don't know if there's a sheriff, it just makes it funnier in my head if there's a sheriff, was stopping them from doing this. Because back in the 70s, drinking and driving in Saskatchewan, they could only convict you if they could find the bottle. Like you could smell like a brewery, but if they couldn't find the bottle, you're allowed to go. Because they could only use one of their senses to convict you, I guess. Sight was the only option. So my uncles, in all their wisdom, took the windshield washer fluid, the reservoir, and rerouted it into the cabin underneath the dashboard, drained it, and filled it with whiskey. So anytime they wanted to drink, they would just hit the washer fluid with a glass under the dash, and it would spit out whiskey into their cup, which is the coolest. It's like James Bond car, as far as I'm concerned. It is the most James Bond car I've ever seen, because they're going to press a button, something cool happens, and somebody's going to die. It was genius, because what cop has ever said to you at a check stop or something, like, hey, clean off your windshield? Like, it's not going to happen. They finally got busted, though, on this, actually, because of gossip. In small towns, that's the only CSI they need. They don't need video cameras or DNA evidence. They just, CSI Doddsland, that's where they grew up. You just go and ask the oldest, most religious woman who done it. And she's like, oh, it's the Deschner fuckers. And then they get detention. I don't know how they punished back then. They probably weren't allowed to watch the TV station. I don't even know. When my uncles were busted on this, though, they actually, their only reaction when they were busted for emptying the washer fluid and filling it with whiskey was, yeah, man, oh, those first few drinks had some kick. I could just see the brain cells running out of their head. Like, it was ridiculous. It's the only crime in history that by committing it, it made them too dumb to ever commit it again. They can't reroute it anymore. So I actually asked them after that, I said, oh, my dad did stuff like this? And they just said, oh, no, your dad was way worse. And I haven't got him drunk enough yet to find out what he did. So that's all for me. Thanks for listening. Excuse me! Coming through. Those shoes are fabulous. It's a shame they don't come in a faster speed. I'm kidding. Who likes a fast comer? Good night.
This is one of the first times I legitimately think that that did not get what it deserved. I was really happy with a lot of stuff. I hope that's not just delusion. I was kind of walking up to a bad situation. I was first out of the gate after the MC, and the MC handling the drunk guys didn't go as well as it could have. They certainly weren't a problem for my set, but I was specifically asked not to engage with them. I didn't really want to engage with them because I want to get through this material. So I definitely think I'm going to give all that stuff a second run as soon as I can. I think that the urinal stuff is pretty easy kind of opener material, so maybe kind of work that in. There's lots of places I can pull the ripcord if it's not going well.